In the face of myriads of challenges, the 19 northern governors are involved in a sort of introspection, but with a national implication. At a meeting with traditional rulers and security agents in Kaduna, the governors took wide-ranging decisions, one of which is targeting the End Bad Governance protest in August, a wake-up call for the northern leaders. The chairman of the Northern States Governors Forum and Governor of Gombe State, Inuwayaya, said the government must scale up efforts to tackle the root causes of youth restiveness by investing in education, skills development and job creation. The northern leaders also rejected the value-added tax VAT plan in President Bola Tinubu's tax reform bill being considered by the National Assembly. But the leaders expressed support for the livestock reform program of the president, which has led to the creation of the Ministry of Livestock Development. Now let's share this story by TVC News' Lupa Asam with you.
The Northern States Governors Forum and the Northern Traditional Rulers Council gathered in Kaduna to address urgent challenges affecting development in the region. Rising infrastructure vandalism has plunged entire communities into darkness, disrupting daily life and progress. Determined to break this cycle, the governors advocate for stronger protection of energy infrastructure and an expansion of transmission networks. They call for immediate measures to secure essential power assets and diversify energy sources.
As we speak today, most of our northern states are in darkness due to vandalization of electricity transmission infrastructure. This not only underscores the vulnerability of critical infrastructure, but also the need to build additional transmission lines and diversify our energy supply.
Let me use this opportunity to commend our dear President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, DCFR, for reinvigorating the war against terrorists, bandits, kidnappers, and other criminal elements in the north.
In response to rumors that bandits are gaining control over some transmission lines, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, assured leaders that the military has the situation under control.
There is nowhere that anybody is in control. What we do is that if you look at, I'm sure you saw the pictures there, some of those areas are supposed to have cleared view so that patrols can be taking place. But because of the shrubs and they allow that forest is fully forested, it makes it extremely difficult. But actions are being taken with the troops. We clear those areas so that repairs can be taken, and then there will be monitoring, which is critical so that we can sustain and repair the places.
Acknowledging youth frustration, the governors urged immediate investment in education, skills training and job creation.
We must scale up efforts to tackle the root causes of youth restiveness by investing in education, skills development and job creation.
They expressed opposition to the proposed tax reform bill, arguing that shifting to a derivation-based VAT model would unfairly disadvantage northern states.
In view of the foregoing, the Forum unanimously rejects the proposed tax amendments and calls on members of the National Assembly to oppose any bill that can jeopardize the well-being of our people.
The Northern Governors Forum is setting the groundwork for a safer, empowered and more prosperous northern Nigeria. Lupe Asom, TVC News, Kaduna.
In the conversation home, Mayor Kimpelu, the northern governors saying the End Bad Governance protest, talk about the August protest, is a wake-up call. Now, let me ask you, are the northern governors waking up now to see the problem they've ignored for so long?
Not really. I think what they meant is that what they meant that is a wake-up call is because the end bad governance didn't really take off in the south. There were protests here and there. Some people went to Ojota and some few places, but it was really violent. Yeah, violent in the north, especially in Kano. So many things, a lot of things were. In fact, some people were calling for military government. Yeah. A lot of people were arrested and tried. So it is not out of place for the governors to sit down to say, look, why is it that the head governance was very bad? Why is it that it was easy for our youth to be used to be able to destroy things and then look for ways of solving that kind of problem? Because what that showed is that there are a lot of youths who are unemployed, who is
illiteracy.
Yes, and then the illiteracy, the alimentary culture,
exactly.
unemployment. So they've realized now that the neglect that they've had over the years has brought up an army of angry, unemployed youth who is so easy to manipulate them to do things. Because the NSAS thing was, in the north, it is akin to like somebody that wants to overthrow government, because the destruction, the level of destruction, especially in Kano, was shocking. And you know that in several states, there were curfews and all that. So it is not out of place for them to sit down, look at the reasons, the remote causes of why they have that kind of violence during the end bad government, bad governance dispute. That's one. Two, the governors have to be honest with themselves.
Okay.
They left undone. They have this elite mentality of, yes, you can see that a lot of the children of the elites have started going to schools. They've sent their kids abroad, and you have a crop of northerners, young, brilliant, educated. But the majority of the people beneath them are just unemployed. They have this alimentary culture. A lot of them didn't go to school. And when you have that kind of problem, there's no way it will not come to haunt you, because eventually these people will, when you don't have a job, when you don't have money to survive, when you roam the streets and you call they call them alimentary, when there is a problem, when there is a protest, it is easy for people who want to exploit the situation to use those people. They are just ready-made. Yes. It's just like in the South when we have these area boys and all that. You know, it's just that it's not as rampant as it is in the North. So it is not out of place for them to sit down and say, let us look at the remote causes why we had the kind of problem we had during the governance.
All right, Kaidi, some of the things the northern governors also said, they rejected the proposed tax bill. Now, do you agree with the position of the northern governors on the proposed tax bill, saying that it will shortchange the north? Or is that something that one should be concerned about here?
Okay, thank you for that question. Basically, you know, when Mayor was talking, I wanted to chip in something, but if time will permit us, I will come back to it. But let me answer your question directly. I think we need to look at it holistically and look at the content of that bill that has been forwarded to the National Assembly. And you're asking, what is the issue there? It is very common. It's a very popular debate that a lot of people probably don't know why this is coming up again. Okay. Now, the simple logic is, we want to look at where is this tax coming from? Okay. Where are we getting this money? Let me use the very clear language. When there's a lot of tax on champagne, on some alcoholic, some beverages, why do we need to now use a model to spread it across the country where these particular items are banned, where you don't have access to it? Okay. Some will argue that even in the South, there are places where some people out of religion don't also partake in alcohol. But the question is, where is it coming from? Where are they consuming this product? And these things are in huge percentage when it comes to how much is taxable on these items. So for them, they feel that if you touch this based on where the tax is coming from, it's going to reduce the allocation that is going to them. That's their fear. Okay. However, we need to be very careful. As germane or whatever their argument is, we need to look at the bigger picture. Let's look at the tax reforms generally. People don't like to pay tax. Sure. We should not reject the tax reform bill as a whole, because there's a whole lot of things, and this is open to debate. and people should debate logically. Because basically most of these debates are born out of political consideration. I was going to just remind us about the kind of protest that you're talking about. There's already a political coloration to it. Look at what happened when in times of subsidy removal protests in 2012. If you watch it, it was not popular in the South. You understand? You will see it popular in the Southwest and in the North because they believe our brother is there. You don't protest against our brother. And when it was time for NSAS, you recall that it was not so popular in the North, except in Abuja, Lagos, and most of the South. So when you also see the head bad governance or head archive, whatever name is being used, you see that it was also common in the North. So whichever lens these governors are looking at it, they should bear in mind that let us address it holistically. Not a regional issue. It is something that if there are poor people, if there are, like Mayor mentioned, there are poor people in the land, if there are idle hands in the land, if there are out-of-school children, they would definitely be ready to be used. So it is about leaders, not just northern governors, addressing the poor among us. And in the big picture, trying to marry the two, when you look at tax system, in the real sense of it, it is those people that are not working, it is those people that are, people who call social urchins on the street, that will really benefit because they must be taken care of. You tax the rich to take care of the poor, in the real sense of it. So please, let our governors see the bigger picture. It is not only those tax on VAT that we are dealing with in that reform bill. Let's look at the bigger picture. Whatever needs to, nobody likes to pay tax. People are growling, people are grilling in UK. When you are dealing with 20%, that's the bigger number. Dealing with 40%, now we are still dealing with 7.5 or 5%.
Now, for those who don't understand what the tax reform is, the tax reform bill, it will make the regions that have the industries benefit.
Not necessarily. What they want to do is that they want to try to consolidate
like
a lot of the taxes because then they want to make sure that there's tax relief for small businesses and companies that are vulnerable. Then they want to tax people high in and small so that the percentage of what they will pay. But for VAT...
But looking at what the governors are saying...
Yeah, let me explain. What they are complaining about within that proposed bill is that in the course of the bill, like I said, there are different areas of the reforms that they've suggested or introduced. But when it comes to VAT, two things that they've done is that VAT is one of the easiest tax to collect. Because it is tax on consumption.
Simple.
You understand? It's easier, unlike others, to collect. So what they have now said is that let us see how we can increase the percentage that we'll put on VAT, but in this case, so that it will be fair to all concerned, we will now use a system where, depending on where the money comes from,
the major production centers
would determine the percentage that you are going to collect.
Now the question,
and I want to say that why that is fair. I don't agree at all with the northern governors, because what I don't agree with them is that they want to eat their cake and have it. Every state collect money from the federation accounts. That is statutory. But when it comes to internally generated revenue within your domain, it is what you introduce in your domain. And we have to look at it. Why is it that a Lagos state, in 2003, Lagos state generated over 800 billion. There are a lot of states in the north that generated between 10 and...
You mean 2023 now?
Yes, 2023, yes. Well, there are a lot of states in the north that generated between 10 and 19 billion for the whole year. So when it comes to VAT, there are some states in the north that said, in our state, we don't want alcohol. It is banned. It's in their right to say so.
Sure.
I don't have any problem with that. But at the same time, it will be unfair for you to say, look, I don't think people should drink, and we don't want alcohol in this state. Not only that, they have police to effect that. They go around seizing this alcohol and destroying them. Fine. There's no problem with that. That is what you want in your state. That's the beauty of federalism. I don't have any problem with that. But at the same time, it will be unfair for you to now say that in a state where they say, okay, you can drink in our state, and then they tax people who are drinking in that state. And let's say, for example, they generated 100 naira based on the VAT from that state. Let's say that in the course of doing, when the VAT that you collected all over the country is 100 naira. And out of that 100 naira, Lagos State provided or accounted for 70 naira out of it. Okay. And then when you wanted to share this 100 naira, you now said, oh, we must share this 100 naira equally. That's unfair. That's unfair on the state that have generated that money. It's just the same principle that has to do with derivation. Okay. There are some people that they produce oil from their area. Derivation. And everybody agree that since these people will suffer certain things because we get this oil from this area, apart from what we collect from federation account, there must be another 30% derivation for all the states that are oil producing states. And also money dedicated to NDDC. Yes, oil producing states. Yes. So that is the principle behind it, because it will be unfair for some states to account for majority of the money that are going to accrue from VAT, and then people who said we don't want to be part of that, we will now collect money from what they said they didn't want.
Okay, but we're pressed for time. But should this not be some sort of like a motivation for the northern governors to try and industrialize their region to increase their IGR? What are your thoughts?
Perfectly on point. It's just for them to look at their strength. This is a subtle way of promoting the so-called federalism that will be mouthing. Produce. Focus on your strength. Don't just bring the tomatoes in their raw state. You can also establish industries. Let us begin to buy it from the raw to the finished product, and there will be more money in that region, and there will be more revenue going to that region. So that's what I feel. It's not because we are from the south. It's just to look at what is logic.
Exactly.
So that's what I feel.
I get